Yeah, you been scarred, but you a czar, you can crawl to the grave. I know that a lion's inside, sleeping in your heart. Step back and remember who you are.
What up, Pride? It's your boy Amari, back again with another reaction video. We are on part, I think, 14 of my Hamilton reaction series. We got a few more songs to do today. The plot is thickening like crazy. Really, like every single part, something crazy happens in the plot. But the plot is thickening like crazy. So we're getting into another part today. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. If you're new here, or if you're here and just haven't subscribed, definitely make sure to subscribe. I have a few more Hamilton parts to go, and then I'm going to be doing all the Hamilton auxiliary content, all the stuff you guys in the comments. Make sure to read all of that, all the stuff you've been telling me. I got all that on a list. I'll be reacting to that stuff as well, and then after that I'll be reacting to other musicals, so definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button not to miss any of that. But without further ado, let's get into this, see what they have for us today, and I'll see all you guys on the other side.
So,
But people won't know what we know.
Burr, how do I know you won't use this against me the next time we go toe to toe?
He absolutely will.
Rumors only grow.
In the eye of a hurricane there is quiet for just a moment. A yellow sky. When I was 17, a hurricane destroyed my town. I didn't drown. I wrote my way out. Wrote everything down far as I could see. I wrote my way out. I looked up and the town had its eyes on me. They passed a plate around and told.
This seems like we are finally getting Hamilton telling us his backstory, like his version of the backstory. In Alexander Hamilton, we get like other people talking about his story leading up to the story, but now we're getting him telling us his perspective on it, which is really interesting. In this time of trial, with all of this like craziness that's happening, he is now like becoming introspective and retrospective. He's now looking at what led him to this point. But I also found it interesting that this seems like the first time Hamilton has slowed down enough to recount how he got here, which he needs to, because obviously he's in a crazy place. I liked that at the beginning of the song, he said, "In the eye of a hurricane," and on the floor, there's like it's almost like a hurricane lighting pattern. It's him standing in the spotlight, surrounded by like this, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a pattern on the floor around him, which makes it seem like he is now in the eye of the hurricane that he's talking about. So I thought that was like a really dope lighting thing.
They passed a plate around, and total strangers moved to kindness. Raised enough for me to book passage on a ship that was New York bound. I wrote my way out of hell, I wrote my way to revolution. I was louder than the crack in the bell. I wrote Eliza love letters until she fell. I wrote about the Constitution and defended it well. I wrote financial systems into existence. When my prayers to God were met with indifference, I picked up a pen, I wrote my own deliverance. In the eye of a hurricane there is quiet.
That's fire. Whoa. Okay. Wowza. So much to talk about here. I love the framing of Alexander being this pen-wielding gladiator who fights his way through all of these difficult moments, through this metaphorical tournament of battles, and into glory and advancement through his use of writing. He is met with all of these different challenges, and sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. Intentionally, like, say, when he was writing the Federalist Papers, and sometimes unintentionally, like his first salvo into writing that got him the money to get to New York. All of these different times he's met with difficulties, and he writes. His ability to write is his weapon that he uses to great efficacy to change his life, you know? I noticed it, but I hadn't really put it all together in that specific way until this moment. I have additional stuff to say about this tier staging that's happening, but I kind of want to see it play out a little bit more before I jump in with thoughts on it. So I'm gonna go back some, I will watch it develop, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts on this, of which I probably will have a lot.
In the eye of a hurricane, there is quiet for just a moment. Hello, sky. I was 12 when my mother died. She was holding me. We were sick and she was holding me. I couldn't seem to die.
Okay, so I wanted to maybe watch it develop a little bit more. I gotta jump in. So the staging on this is incredible. First off, the little callback to his mom when she passes in Alexander Hamilton, the way they hold her up and then drift her down, they did that again in the background of this. And I wanted to say that before I get into like my long soliloquy that I'm about to give, because I didn't want to forget that. That was fire, okay? This song, especially with the imagery of a hurricane, is so interesting. This song is essentially an inverted hurricane. It just, hear me out. The song starts quiet and soft and ballady, and then builds into this like marching, triumphant, daring like rap section where he's talking about like all of his different writings and all of the battles that he's won as a result of his writing. And then it goes back into the chill, quiet softness, which from the standpoint of a hurricane, I'm assuming most of you know, but for those of you who don't know, the eye of a hurricane is the calmest part of a hurricane. Now, the interior part right around the eye is also the craziest, like most intense part of the hurricane. But in the exact middle is the calmest part of a hurricane. It's surrounded by the storm itself, which is intense. In this case, it's intensity surrounded by softness. If you looked at a hurricane coming at you, it would be intense, calm in the eye of the hurricane, and then on the other side, it'd be intense again as the hurricane passed over you. In this case, it's the opposite. It's soft, and then intense in the middle, and then soft again, right? So that's the inverted hurricane. As I said, we still have the lighting where he's in the spotlight in the middle, and then we have the storm pattern on the floor that's spinning. In my opinion, it's blue because of like the introspective nature, like in my shot, in Satisfied. And one of the two Burr songs, I don't think it's Wait For It. I think it's The Room Where It Happens is the one that's blue. In all of the super blue moments in this, we get like character introspective moments. And this is another example of that. That's my opinion for why it's blue. But that aside, or paired with that, you could also look at it from the standpoint of, he mentioned like yellow skies, which like the sky turns yellow when a hurricane is coming. I don't know why it is. I just know that that's the case. It's like an orangish yellow color, and the spotlight is like an orangish yellow, and then it's surrounded by blue, which is like water is like a big part of hurricanes. So like that's another way that you can interpret the lighting if you want to just look at this in a vacuum and not connect it to the other songs, right? Another way that this song is interesting, he says, in the eye of a hurricane, there is quiet. And there are breaks and pauses in his line, but there are also breaks and pauses in the music. We get cuts from the song, that is the instrumentation. We get quiet in the song built into the instrumentation. There are eyes of the musical storm. Now, I wouldn't describe most of this song as like sounding like a storm, but if you just think of instrumentation as the storm, all of the cuts in the parts where he talks about there being quiet also act as an eye to that storm. But in this part here where he talks about the eye of the storm again, and he says there is quiet, we get all the different aspects of his life, from his mom's passing, Maria Reynolds there begging, and like all of this different stuff that's like moving in slow motion. It's all spinning around him. It's a very stark visual. It develops on him in the middle of the hurricane that is, well, the consequences of his actions, and also the other painful moments of his life, like his mom's dying. This is it's an interesting song. Like conceptually and visually, this song is like super dope.
I was louder than the crack in the bell. I wrote Eliza love letters until she fell.
I missed that before. I was louder than the crack in the bell, and then we get like the bell sound in the background. That's a nice little touch in there.
In the eye of a hurricane, there is quiet for just a moment. yellow sky. I was
Also, the fact that like as it's a part of this, they're picking up furniture and it's all it looks like he's literally in a storm. That's so dope. I love it. Like even the people up on the balcony are holding furniture, and it's like level. It's a very dynamic image right here. This is great. This is visually one of my favorite moments in this show so far. That's so cool.
for just a moment. Yellow sky. I was 12 when my mother died. She was holding me. We were sick and she was holding me. I couldn't seem to die. I'll write my way out. Write everything down far as I can see. I'll write my way out. Overwhelm them with honesty. This is the eye of the hurricane. This is the only way I can protect my legacy. Wait for it.
Okay, so lots of foreshadowing. I don't like that Burr just appears out of nowhere when he says he was talking something about basically not dying in the situation where him and his mom were sick. She died, he didn't die. Tragic, by the way. And then Burr come, wait for it. Shut up, okay? I don't like your little foreshadowing of you killing him, okay? That's not, no, sir, no. Great writing, but also I don't like it. It's not. Yeah, and then also he says he's gonna write his way out of it, and they're also like, wait for it. And Maria shows up, hands him a pen. Again, all of this, just like with the room where it happens, all of this feels very fourth wall breaky in some, like when Burr says like wait for it. I don't think Burr at this moment knew, or at least I haven't had any indication that Burr at this moment knew that he was gonna go on to shoot Hamilton. So that's like a little like meta fourth wall break for us, the audience, because we have the hindsight of the future. I don't think these other characters that aren't Hamilton are meant to be interpreted as being literally there. I think it's more of like all of this is happening in his mind, and these are the things that are weighing on him at this moment. Maria, James was there like standing on something. There was like the letter. We have Burr. So on Madison's right here in the corner. So like all of this is like the trials that he's been going through up until this point, some of which are by his own design, but it is what it is. And so I'm interpreting all of this as like a in his head situation in a similar way that I interpret most of the room where it happens being a mental thing in Burr's head.
This is the eye of the hurricane. This is the only way I can protect my legacy. Wait for it. The Reynolds pamphlet.
The Reynolds pamphlet. Have you read this? Alexander Hamilton had a torrid affair, and he wrote it down right there. Highlights. The charge against me is a connection with one James Reynolds. My real crime is an amorous connection with his wife for a considerable time with his knowing consent. Damn!
I think I remember this. I feel like I learned about this in school. In my brain, I knew it, but I also have like been in the comments and corresponded with you guys enough, and a lot of people are bad at not spoiling stuff. So like I knew at some point he was going to like tell the world about his affair. And so like I've kind of been anticipating this. So I don't know if my brain is like putting together all of these pieces in a predictive way. It's like, know that this was coming with the information that I've gotten from the comments, or if I'm remembering that this happened from my history classes is basically what I'm trying to say. But I did expect this to be coming. Like when I was just talking about how the Burr thing was being foreshadowed, this obviously was also being foreshadowed because he was like, I'm going to write my way out of it. And everybody was like, wait for it. So like, I mean, we didn't have to wait very long. Like this is like literally the next thing that happened. And as they're reading it, it's all of his enemies gleefully reading it. He is standing also reciting it like in the background. I think that's really cool. It's kind of contrasted with the George Washington One Last Time moment where Alex is writing and reading what he wrote for George, and then George comes in and like delivers the rest of his farewell to the people. This is kind of the opposite. He wrote it and the people who are delivering it are not, his friends or father figures or whatever. It's his enemies, and they're delivering it for him. Does that make sense? Like, he wrote it from his perspective instead of writing it for someone else, and other people are reading it and reciting it instead of the person who he wrote it for their perspective coming in. I don't know if I explained that well, but hopefully that makes sense. It's a contrast that my brain finds very interesting.
Have you read this? Alexander Hamilton had a torrid affair, and he wrote it down right there.
Oh, Alexander Hamilton. That's literally the way I've noticed that a lot. That when they say people's names in this, they will make references back to the way that they're sung in previous songs. So that's obviously a reference to Alexander Hamilton, like the song. I didn't say that last time because I didn't catch it last time. But yeah, this is such an energetic shift from the last song. It's like, it's so, yeah, it's so different.
Damn! I had frequent meetings with her. Most of them in my own house.
His own house. At his own house.
Damn. Mrs. Hamilton with our children being absent on a visit to her father.
No. Have you read this?
Never gonna be president now. We're never gonna be president now. We're never gonna be president now. That's one less thing to worry about. That's one less thing to worry about.
Okay, so that, yeah, I feel conflicted because, like, I've been very extensive and very blatant about my stance on Hamilton's affair, but at the same time, watching his enemies dance on his grave, knowing that at least two of those people, I don't know about Madison, but I know at least two of those people are also terrible people, and like the fact that like two of those people go on to be president, I don't really know what Burr continues to go on to do after all of this. Now, part of this is Hamilton's own fault. Like, nobody told him to go have an affair. Nobody told him to go spill his own business to the world, right? But he is facing consequences for actions that he is not the only person in Congress who did these kinds of things. Now, he might be the only one who got extorted for it, but, he's not the only one who had an affair. He's not the only one who has faults. I mean, again, Thomas Jefferson by himself is just a walking closet of skeletons, right? And so for him to be the only one who's like suffering consequences for that, like, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I don't feel bad that he is suffering consequences. Does that make sense? It's like, if you commit a crime, you should go to jail. But if you and 10 other people all commit the crime together, you shouldn't be the only one to go to jail. Does that make sense? It's like, y'all should all go to jail. I'm not saying he should just not go to jail because nobody else got consequences. But I'm saying, like, it's also not fair that he took the heat for everybody, Again, I'm not implying that they all committed this particular metaphorical crime together. It's just that they are all criminals. All the criminals should be in jail is the point that I'm trying to make. So, is that Angelica? What the hell? Sorry, I was not looking at the screen as I was talking, so I didn't notice that. Okay, I should probably shut up and figure out what's going on. She has like suitcases or something. Is that like a dog carrier thing? Okay, whatever. I'm gonna see. But the point is, clearly she has come back, and she I came as soon as I heard this. Okay, that's literally what people have been commenting in the comment section so much. So I'm about to see what reference you guys have been referencing. I didn't like when they was rubbing it in his son's face. Like, do you see? It's excessive. It's excessive. I get it. You don't like him as a person, maybe because he's abrasive and arrogant and whatever, and you also don't like his political stances, but to rub in his child's face that he cheated on his mother, it's too much, is what I'm saying. It's the response is not equal to their grievances with him. And then he's the one who none of these other dudes get shot. I don't know that for certain, but I'm pretty sure none of these other dudes get shot. He's the one who gets shot, but they doing all this craziness. I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like it. And I don't want to have to defend Hamilton because, again, I think his choices were asinine, but also I don't like his enemies' reaction to it because they are also not faultless,
One less thing to worry about. One less thing to worry about.
I came as soon as I heard.
All the way from London. Damn.
Angelica, thank God someone who understands what I'm struggling here to do.
I'm not here for you. I know my sister like I know my own mind. You will never find anyone as trusting or as kind. I love my sister more than anything in this life. I will choose her happiness over mine every every time.
Interesting. So obviously that's a Satisfied reference. I picked up on it before it became obvious. Go look at my face, okay? When she comes in, they have the little Satisfied piano flurry, right? And she immediately starts like directly singing Satisfied. Like the whole point of that song is Hamilton's inability to be satisfied, his gratuitous need for more. I have so many thoughts. Like, okay, first off, the fact that he thought that Angelica came back to console him is wild. It's truly wild. It is the definition of self-obsessed. I get that he's going through a really tough time right now. And so seeing a familiar face, someone he cares about a lot, it can be a consoling thing. But you really think that the sister of your wife that you just publicly embarrassed by telling the entire world that you cheated on her came all the way across the ocean to console you on your career troubles? Really? Do you see what I'm like? He's kind of like a child in the way that like children don't think about other people. If a baby cries, it doesn't care that it may be inconvenient for you. It's hungry. It doesn't matter that you were sleeping. I'm hungry. Do you get what I'm saying? Like Hamilton, he kind of has that mindset where it's not malicious. That's why I'm using this specific analogy, not because like I hate children and think they're like selfish douchebags, right? But because from the standpoint of a child, really like a baby or a toddler, because like as children get older, they learn altruism and to be less selfish and all of those things. But like very small children and babies, their whole thought process is it's a me type thinking, and they can't see beyond what they're feeling, what their needs are. But it's not because they're like trying to be selfish. The baby isn't trying to F up your sleep schedule. It's just hungry. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it just needs its diaper change. It just like whatever the thing it's going through right now is its biggest and sole priority, and therefore it can't see past that. Hamilton in this moment, and in a few other moments, but especially in this moment, is kind of like that. He is not maliciously trying to be, and this kind of harkens back to like the stepping on Burr's toes conversation from the last video, where I felt like for me the biggest distinction between the things that Hamilton has done to Burr and the things that Burr is now doing to Hamilton is intent. And Hamilton's intent hasn't ever been to like maliciously hurt or to stifle Burr. He's just been self-obsessed. Is that good? No, but it's the truth. He has been focused on him, versus Burr is focused on Hamilton as well, and he's focused on destroying him, versus Alex has never been focused on destroying Burr. He's just focused on doing whatever it is that he has in mind, and in the process he ends up stepping on Burr and everyone else's toes, but it hasn't been malicious. Like, I wasn't trying to step on your toes, I just happened to be walking and oh crap, there's a foot under my foot. Does that make sense? Especially in this second half of the musical, we're really getting to see the cons of this like self-obsessed nature of this admittedly brilliant man. If he wasn't self-obsessed, he wouldn't have accomplished everything that he accomplished. But at the same time, it's not a good look from an interpersonal perspective. And this moment encapsulates that.
I love my sister more than anything in this life. I will choose her happiness over mine every time. Put what we had aside, I'm standing at her side. You can never be satisfied, but I won't get satisfied.
You're never gonna be president now. You're never gonna be president now. One less thing to worry about. One less thing to worry about. Hey, one less thing to worry about. Yes, we'll be president now. Yes, always one less thing to worry about. The Reynolds Pamphlet. Have you read this? You ever seen somebody ruin their own life? His poor wife.
Oh,
I saved every letter you wrote me. From the moment I read them, I knew you were mine. You said you were mine, Do you know what Angelica said when we saw your
All y'all who be getting like really upset when I talk about the interpersonal aspects of this and when I get emotional and whatever. Why are you still here? No, I'm just kidding. I just want to let you know this might be the part of the video that you might want to click off. But before you do, let me tell you some musical stuff that I found interesting, because after this pause, I can almost guarantee you I'm gonna be a mess. So get your last little dose of music stuff in and then deuce, because this video's probably about to go off the rails. The transition from the last song into this song, so interesting. What I thought was like a triplet counter melody that actually sounded really ominous when it came in, ended up being the melodic progression for the next song. This song starts at the end of the last song when they say his poor wife, which is obviously more foreshadowing. Like this whole section, this whole video is just foreshadowing. I should just title this Part 14, Foreshadowing. But that's like really interesting. I don't think they've done that with too many other songs, but this song bleed into the next song. Like a lot of songs like transition very seamlessly into the next song. This song literally starts before the last song ends and then goes into this over here, right? And I thought it was like a counter melody that was happening at the end of that last song, and then as like it progressed more, I realized like, no, this is like actually the next song, right? This song is, okay, I'm gonna try to not make this a music theory class and like lose all of you guys, but like stick with me here because like I promise at the end of it, it'll make sense, but I have to explain some like musical aspects first for those of you who haven't taken a bunch of music classes or like don't play instruments or whatever, to like understand where I'm going with this. So this song is in a really weird time signature. Time signatures are basically just how you notate songs for the purpose of sheet music and whatnot. We're not gonna get into all that, but most songs that you have heard in your lifetime are in common time, which is like 4/4 time signature, where there are 4 downbeats for every measure. So it's 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. This is used in almost every single genre of music. It is 99% of the stuff that you hear on the radio, that's in your CD player, that's in your phone, or if you got a vinyl record player, most of the stuff you listen to on that, whether you realize it or not, just know that like most music is in 4/4 time signature. If you listen to jazz, certain subgenres of rock, and like certain classical pieces, you may be familiar with music that is outside of 4/4 time signature, but for the most part, most music is in 4/4 time signature. After that, you have 3/4 time signature, which is the next most common, but significantly less common, and it's primarily used in like waltz music and also in some R&B songs and some pop songs. The difference between 3/4 and 4/4 is that there are 3 downbeats for every measure. So it's 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, instead of the 4 count that you get for each measure. Make sense? 3/4 is interesting because it has this sway and this swing to it. Hence, waltz music. It inherently has a movement to it that 4/4 doesn't, because 4/4 is a lot more stable, solid, secure. This song isn't in either of those. It's in something called 6/8, which is, for the purpose of this video, just think of it as like a more complex version of 3/4. The way you count that out is literally the piano that's playing in the intro of this. It's 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this song inherently is unstable from the perspective of comparing it to 4/4. The way that we perceive music, it feels stable. And 6/8 feels very unstable in that it has this level of sway and movement to it that is even more complex than 3/4. And so this song, which is the Eliza finding out about the affair song, being in a non-stable time signature, is incredibly symbolic of how she's feeling. Do you get what I'm saying? Like the last song was 4/4. The song before that, 4/4. The song before, you get what I'm saying? All of these songs, there was another song earlier, but I can't think of what it is right now, that was in a different time signature, but all but 1 or 2 songs in this musical have been in 4/4. This song is not. Does that make, that's important. And so it really shows how her whole life until this point, all of the songs that she's had, all of the moments that she's had with Hamilton have been in this particular way, and now that's all been shifted and thrown off balance. Them communicating that to the audience by writing this song in a time signature that is different from everything that we've experienced up until this point, that drives home how she's feeling before she even talks. Before we even get her thoughts on what's going on, we know how she's feeling from just the time signature of the song. That's incredible writing.
Do you know what Angelica said when we saw your first letter arrive? She said, be careful with that one, love. He will do what it takes to survive. You and your words flooded my senses. You built me palaces out of paragraphs. You built cathedrals. I'm rereading the letters you wrote me. I'm searching and scanning for answers in every line, for some kind of sign. And when you were mine, the world seemed to burn. You published the letters she wrote you. You told the whole world how you brought this girl into our bed. In clearing your name, you have ruined our lives. Do you know what Angelica said?
Sorry. I wish I would have paused before she got to that moment, because I just threw my whole brain off. Shit. I genuinely don't remember what I was gonna say. Like, I'm not gonna. I had something to say, and I don't know what I was gonna. My whole brain. I'm just seeing her face again when she said, "Do you know what Angelica said?" Replaying in my head. Okay, I'm gonna go back and hope that it like comes back to me, because yeah, I'm in a place where I feel weirdly grateful to like all of you people in the comments who like are incapable of not spoiling things, because like I knew that she was going to find out coming up soon because of the way that everybody in the comments was reacting. And so like I was able to put together your, oh, I'm gonna be clever and not tell you exactly what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna drop enough breadcrumbs where my brain was able to like put together all of the pieces to like know what was coming. So like I was able to like mentally prepare for this moment. And yet like I'm still, you know, I'm having a time. I'm going to go back. I'm going to hope and pray that I can remember what it was that I was going to say before she. I don't want to look at the screen right now. I don't want to look. Okay, I'm going back.
Clearing your name, you have ruined our.
That's what it was. Okay. First and foremost, great acting by Philippa. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Incredible acting. It's very monumental acting. This realization moment for Eliza is, I mean, sad is like obvious, but like it's very interesting. At every moment leading up to this, Angelica has understood Hamilton better than Eliza, but it seems like this is the moment where she's starting to understand who he is. She's hearkening back to warnings that she got from her sister early on, and she is realizing that Hamilton, the same dude who chose to work instead of go on family vacation, like that same thought process of work and legacy over family is the same thought process that led to him writing the Reynolds pamphlets or whatever it's called. The line, "In clearing your name, you have ruined our lives," is so, yeah. Up until this point, I feel like Eliza looked at Hamilton. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, but kind of the cathedral lines where she poetically describes how he wooed her with writing. I think she kind of looked at him in a deity kind of way. Not that like she thought he was God, but more so that she thought he was infallible. She was seeing him through rose-tinted glasses or rose-colored glasses or whatever, in that all of the things that he did, even the not good things that he did, she was giving him the benefit of the doubt. She was seeing the silver lining. Now it feels like that is ending. Justifiably, for sure. But at this moment, as she is describing the nature of his choice, it feels like she is seeing him, obviously in a new light, but seeing him, just seeing him for him, seeing the cloud without the silver lining. Does that make sense?
Do you know what Angelica said when she read what you'd done? She said, you've married an Icarus. He's flown too close to the sun. You and your words obsessed with your legacy, and you are paranoid in every paragraph how they perceive you. I'm erasing myself.
Wow. Yeah. So the Icarus comparison, obviously, like, very apt. Icarus, in his hubris, flew too close to the sun. The wax melted off his wings, or depending on a different telling on the story, his wings caught on fire. Whatever. The point is, his wings, they no longer are useful to him. He falls into the ocean, drowns. The lesson there is basically Hamilton is arrogantly trying to protect his legacy. He is consistently striving for more. And in the process, he ends up destroying himself. I see that. And it's yeah. Angelica's brain was definitely firing on full cylinders during that one, because that's a great analogy there. The moment where she says, you, basically what I was saying earlier, like he is self-obsessed. He is solely in every moment thinking about him and what it is that he wants and what it is that is best for him. Now, I would argue that this is probably not best for him, even from a career standpoint, because, again, they were just celebrating that he's never going to be president, which is, like, it's so weird to think about, like, a time where adultery could end your whole political career. But his actions are, I am recalling times where I've heard people say that the cost and the consequences of cheating always outweigh the small benefit that you get. That moment of solace that he got when he was feeling lonely, when his family was off visiting his father-in-law, and all of the subsequent moments of lust and gratification that he got as a result of continuing his affair, like, that does not outweigh what he is now losing. He is obviously destroying his family life, but he is also facing career consequences. And I understand that the first time he committed adultery, it was an oops, in his brain, it was an accident, and therefore he wasn't thinking about all of the potential consequences that happened. And then from then on, he was like, well, I've already made the mistake, so might as well just keep going, which I think is insane, but I understand that is his thought process. But in the process of that, he is losing everything. He's not just facing consequences from a interpersonal standpoint. And so while he has cleared his name as not a criminal, he's still hurting himself. And so it just, yeah. This is hard for me. It's hard for me. It very much is.
I'm erasing myself from the narrative. Let future historians wonder how Eliza reacted when you broke her heart. You have torn it all apart. I'm watching it burn.
Okay, so that was that part. Sucks. It's an all around trash situation. Like, part of me wants to like talk for like 15 minutes about all of this in the outro, but part of me also wants to just say nothing. Because I feel like I don't want my commentary to cheapen this, you know? I get that that's not Eliza, but I don't want to cheapen what she felt in that. I commend her for taking control of her story, for saying, hey, other people don't deserve to know how I reacted. You know, future historians are gonna sit and they're gonna wonder, you know, what I did when you broke my heart. I respect the whole people don't need to be in our relationship and in our bed and in our lives aspect of it. And I don't know if that's like Lynn's way of saying like basically we don't know how she reacted, like that's been lost to history. I don't know if we know that that is how she reacted, like she actively did not want to be a participant in this moment in history, which again I completely understand. But I respect her for that choice, you know. I'm interested to see how this progresses. I know that divorces were not super common back then, but someone in a comment told me that like Maria Reynolds was able to get divorced. So I don't know, under special circumstances maybe you could get divorced, maybe they get divorced. I know that she said in the song that he was going to be sleeping in his office, which is like the workaholic version of sleeping on the couch. Normally Hamilton, in times of difficulty, in situations of high emotionality, he throws himself into his work, but his work is under fire too. I mean, his political career is over. I know that he did some other things like start a newspaper or whatever outside of that. Maybe he can throw himself into that, I don't know, but normally he would throw himself into work, but you know, can't really do that either. So he's basically losing everything. Everything is burning around him by his own making. Nobody forced him to do what he did, you know. But it's also, it's sad. It's sad to see, like, dude, you came out the mud. You came from nothing and built yourself to be this great historic man and threw it all away for what? You know, it's just, yeah. Watching her burn their like love letters is like very powerful imagery. I've burnt letters before. I've watched other people close to me burn letters before. So like I, on a visceral level, get that emotion. This part is a lot for me. I feel for her and for anybody who relates to her. Having gone through this situation, it sucks. It definitely sucks, especially in that time. I'm not sure how she proceeds forward. I don't know if that's going to come up in the musical or not. People haven't spoiled that in the comments for me yet, luckily. But I think it was great that Lynn included this in the musical, so that we got to see the flaws as well as the achievements of this historical figure. You know, a lot of times when we get renditions of people's lives who have been great, we get all of the good stuff with all of the negatives and flaws like removed and washed away. This is not at all doing that. This is like definitely holding him to the fire, which again is deserved. It's sad that like a lot of other historical figures don't get this treatment, but it's deserved, you know. But it's also like, wow. I feel bad for his kids. I feel bad for his wife. I honestly, I don't know what to say. I am speechless, which, if you haven't noticed, is not a state that I'm in often. I usually have some thoughts, commentary, opinions on everything, but here it's like my own personal eye of the storm. Speaking of which, the other songs were good. I think that last one was the best one, personally, for me. Like, musically, I think that is the song that, if it wasn't about something so tragic, I would listen to the most. I just really liked her voice, her singing in that, the emotion, the inflection, all incredible. Now, I don't know how often I will play like any of this, to be real with you. Like, I don't see myself jamming to these songs, because if it hasn't been cleared, like, this topic matter is like a very emotional topic matter for me. So I don't know how much I will be playing these songs, but I like what they did. That's one of the better ballads I've heard in my life. And I'm not a ballad guy. I don't generally listen to ballads that often. A lot of times they're boring and or just not that interesting to me. Like, the complexity on a lot of them is very lacking. And with that being the case, you have to nail everything else. And I feel like this song nails everything, you know? And so for me, the last song was the best one, but very interesting. All coming at this same situation from a lot of different perspectives. I like that we have, you know, his internal thoughts, her internal thoughts, everybody else's reaction. We have the external conflict that he was having with the mistress at the time when the husband came to extort him. Like, we get this particular situation from, unfortunately, but also fortunately, a variety of different perspectives. And I think the writing on that is really great, but it sucks. It sucks. Not the writing, just the topic matter. So yeah, hopefully this video was interesting. This will probably end up being one of my longer videos, unless I just like cut out all of them, and I might, but know that there was a lot of long pauses in this. There's a lot of moments of me just sitting. This has been a video, so thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe or don't. I don't feel like doing the whole YouTuber chuck and jive for you guys to like the video and all that. If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. If not, you're not gonna do it. That's okay. I appreciate you watching. I don't have an emoji for this video. If you want to tell me in the comments that you watched to the end, you can do that, but I don't feel like it. And I know that that's like my logical brain is like, no, like, you still have a job to do. You should do all the things that will help promote the video. But like, I don't care. I to be honest with you, I don't care. Hopefully people watch it, but if they don't, I'm okay. Like, the core tenet of this part of the musical is that there are things bigger than your legacy. And while I understand, like, in a very real way, the desire to build and then protect your legacy, I also understand the magnitude of the choices that he made. Those things are not lost on me. And so while I said I didn't know if I was gonna give commentary and then gave a ton of commentary, what I won't do is like tap dance for engagement for the video, to promote the video, because that really feels like cheapening the moment that I just went through. I know that all of you guys have seen this before, but yeah. Anyway, I'll see all you guys here next time. Have a great day. Peace.
Twilight, these skies no blues. A new love, but we know that it'll cruise like time in a queue. Wet shampoo, new bamboo. Much more of it will ensue. I'm caught in this trance in lieu of sinking down in the stew. You change up the brew, now life tastes so brand new. It's delicious like fondue. Under the moonlight tonight, stars and hearts shimmering. You illuminate who I am, you're a backlight. You are Miami nights.